Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. We're here with the Blondie crew. James, we will see you next month. We have a new addition to the podcast. Scott is here tonight. And then, of course, some of our lovely regulars. Jimmy, I love that you have a No Exit shirt on. We are here to talk about Blondie's comeback album, No Exit. But before we go into that, let me thank my Patreon subscribers. And I don't know what's going on, but people are subscribing to this shit. So someone out there's, when I saw the numbers, I'm like, oh, maybe I can quit my day job. No, I'm just playing. But anyway, whoever's listening, thank you so much. And feel free to say in the comments how you feel about stuff, because there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to music. But yeah, Blondie, No Exit. So before I do a little introduction, Scott, why don't you give us a little, who are you? Why are you here? How did you end up here? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, like many of you, I got on board around 1979 when I was 14. Got hooked on Heart of Glass. Became a huge fan and just never stopped being one. I do have a couple connections to Blondie and Debbie. I was an extra in the first Hairspray movie. So I got to meet Debbie and Sonny and all those people. I was an extra in The Fluffer, which is a movie she made much later, and I was in her scene both times. So I got to meet her on set of those, and that was fun. And once backstage in Toronto in 1990, I got to go into the dressing room and meet her and Chris briefly. So those were all thrilling moments, of course. And that's pretty much it. I mean, otherwise, I've just been a fan like everybody else.
Well, cool. Well, I'm very glad to have you here with us. You're welcome to stay for the duration of this discography. Once you're in the family, you're in, baby.
I would love it.
And of course, we have
Thank
our
you.
regulars here who I just have fallen in love with you all every month. So let's get into this album. No Exit. It came out, it was 98, right? That it was released? Or 99? Help me out.
February 99.
Okay, February 99. This was the age of the late 90s. So VH1 was really going hard with the behind the musics. A lot of the 80s bands were kind of coming back and kind of getting a second wind from the behind the musics, and reunion tours were still happening. But on top of all that, Blondie came out with some new music. And of all the people that came around back in the 90s, I feel like Blondie was one of the most successful comebacks. And as we go into this album, I feel like they were adamant to not be an oldies band and to show their currentness and relevantness with this album. And I was so like, I remember being in the damn University Mall in Florida and hearing Maria on the radio, and I could not believe there was a damn new Blondie single, and it was so good. Like, a lot of bands come back and they do stuff that the fans love, but this was being played on the radio right along with the current music. So Blondie really jumped out of the bunch and were back in prominence, and it was great timing because he had Garbage out around them, who they would tour with many years later. But they really fit into the landscape, not as an oldies act, but as a current act, I felt like. So we have huge Blondie fans here. Talk to me about you're coming into the era of No Exit. And I know a lot of you were around for that and have history. Jimmy, your hands up. We'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this because I'm sorry Daniel isn't here because he's a musician, as well.
Right.
But this album really speaks to the importance of music, because basically Blondie kind of really saved my life, actually. Because back in 1998, I was in my first relationship in which the other person also thought we were in a relationship. So that was a first for me. And poor little me had my heart were just broken and was completely devastated. My world went black. I just it was my first like true like heartache. It was an awful time in my life. I had to take time off from work.
Aw.
Like literally my mom had to come visit to help take care of me. And I heard though that Blondie was reforming and that there was a new album coming out. And literally that gave me, that was the only thing I had to look forward to. I mean, I would, at that point, like literally I would have welcomed death, you know. But I wanted to hear this damn new Blondie album, so I'm gonna hang on. And it really got me through you know, the darkest of times. And like I remember watching the American Music Awards, which I'll get to later because there's a backside to that. But anyway, just seeing Blondie back together again, like I was just so ecstatic. Ironically, we had pseudo gotten back together, and he then broke up with me again on Valentine's Day of 1999. But you know what? I didn't care because the album was coming out. I was like, at that point, I'm like, I just need this album in my life. And I just cannot people think they put out music and, for people to enjoy or whatever, but literally it was the thing that kept me going. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all you people who put out music. You just never know what it may mean to somebody who's on the listening end.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right. Let's just go in the order of titles. Barry, I know you were around during the resurgence of Blondie. How did it feel as a huge fan? And did you ever expect Blondie to have a whole nother chapter?
No, I never expected it at all. And, by that time where they were talking about that, I was good friends with Chris. And the thing I remember is I visited him at his home in Tribeca in New York City. And he said, "Oh, we're talking about getting Blondie back together." And I thought he was joking, but he wasn't joking. And they really were. And they recorded some demo material in 1996, and Nigel Harrison was involved in that. He played bass on that, on those demos. And Jimmy Destry wrote a song that didn't get on the album. It was called Mine. And then in 97, they did 3 shows. There was the first one in Washington, D.C., and then there was Agawam, Massachusetts, and then Dallas, Texas. And then they did some touring after that, and then the album came out. I believe it was February of 99. And Chris actually invited me to the recording sessions for No Exit. And I met Craig Leon there. And, he's a well-known producer. I think he mostly does classical music now. I was there for Forgive and Forget, and Screaming Skin was what they recorded. And it was at a studio in New Jersey. Very interesting process. But I never expected it. I literally thought Chris was joking with me because
Wow.
I'm a little bit gullible, and he kind of exploited that a couple of times over the years to be funny.
And history has shown that this was definitely the beginning of a whole nother chapter because, as we know, it's gone on till today. All right, Mark, No Exit. How did it land in your world?
In my world, it was funny. I remember the time I had heard the rumors, around 96 and stuff, that they were rehearsing, they were working on new material. We're hoping that they'll have a new album out. And I remember at that point in time, I was friends. Actually, Barry, I think it was April who used to do some managing and stuff. I thought you two were.
Yes, we're very close friends, and April and I actually created the original version of Blondie.net, of the official site. It was just a fan site at that time, and she did a lot of work on that site with me. And the band liked it so much they adopted it as their own official site.
Yeah, that's great. I remember that. And she was a friend of a friend, so I kind of knew her in a roundabout way. And I remember I would always see her and the usual cast of characters at like Debbie gigs when we were at Don Hill's or stuff like that. And I remember we were at was it the Knitting Factory? Not the Knitting Factory. Yeah, she was a Jazz Passengers gig. And Debbie was performing. She was great. And I remember I was hanging out and I had met some friends and stuff. And they're like, hang out for the second show, hang out for the second show. So I did. And then I remember April came up to me. She goes, hang out and wait. She goes, Debbie's going to come out for a minute. You'll get to see her and stuff. And I remember she was like organizing stuff, and she came out. She goes, Debbie needs somebody to hold her boombox, and she just throws it in my hands and everything. And so all of a sudden I kind of get scuffled into like the gang of like Debbie's gang, and I'm like, and we're walking down the stairs. We were up on the second floor. We were walking down the stairs, and Debbie was comes into like a bunch of fans and everything, and there's like this long line of us, and she goes, does everybody know each other? And she's going by and she's introducing everybody. She goes, oh, and I want you guys to meet. Oh, guys, that's Chris. That's Jimmy, that's Nigel. And I turn around and all of Blondie are standing behind me. I had no idea. So it was just really cool. And it was just like a really great moment for me. And I remember Debbie's sister Martha was there, and she goes, who are you? Why are you holding her stereo? When she took it away from me. But it was a really great moment. And that was like, the beginnings of that moment. And I remember April actually got me some of the demos. So I got to hear Under the Gun in demo form. I got to hear Pop Trash Movie, which was never released, and the Studio 54 song and stuff like that. So I had heard, I was getting lots and lots of stuff at that. So by the time the album came out, I was just like, off in like a goofy world. I was doing cartwheels and stuff.
Wow.
But I had a nice introduction to it over a period of time. So it was very, very exciting period for me, just to be witness to that.
Yeah, that was great back then. And I think those demos, they came off of a cassette tape that was a demo version of No Exit. And the Under the Gun demo was called Colorado originally.
Mm-hmm. It was, I remember it said it right on the thing, Colorado in like 54. And yeah.
All right, Scott, how about you?
Well, 99, we had all been sort of parched by then. Like, it had been a long time since we had heard product from Debbie. I think Deprivation was 93 or something like that. And there hadn't been a whole lot after that. So I think many of us thought we missed our chance to ever go see Blondie live. If we were lucky, maybe we got to see the Jazz Passengers, but we all hankered, right, for that era that we missed. At least I missed it. I wasn't old enough to see a Blondie concert. So it was like a dream come true. And I heard they were doing it. And I think it was on Beyond Records. Was that the name of the label?
Yep.
Because I got in touch with Beyond. I was really aggressive in those days, trying to get like involved. Like, there must be something I can do. I was editing at that time. So I was like, I got to know them, and I said, look, I've worked for magazines. I've had press passes. I can shoot shows. I'm an editor. I can edit videos. Just let me know if there's anything I can do for you at all. And so when they were doing the Maria video, they said, well, give us your demo. Give us a demo of your editing work. And I was fantasizing that, what if I get to edit this video, And I think I didn't get it. And I think he said, I don't remember who the guy was anymore that I was talking to, but he said, I just did it myself. He said, I just edited it myself, or we did it ourselves. So I said, that's fine. Just let me know. And he never gave me any tasks to do, but he did send tickets. And I got to see some shows at like the Wilshire and the El Rey and here in Los Angeles that I wouldn't have been able to see otherwise, because they were private shows and stuff. So that was where I was at that time. But I was thrilled to have an opportunity to see Blondie again.
Cool. Well, my two favorite bands from the 70s were Fleetwood Mac and Blondie. And it was really awesome because in the late 90s, they both came back really hard. And it was the last thing I ever expected. And I feel like in both cases, neither, both had kind of a relevance to them that really caught the imagination of pop culture, even in the late 90s. I remember there was a VH1, they showed the live concert, where they were doing a lot of material from No Exit. And it was just very clear to me that they were steadfast on showing that we are not an oldies act. And when I revisit the album, this isn't an album I did not listen to it tons when it came out. I listened to the singles, but when I was pleasantly surprised when I revisited it just how ambitious and relevant it was. So let's start with the cover artwork. Clearly very contemporary for 1999. Like, this does not look like an oldies act here. They were back to conquer and kill. And I just think the branding and artwork was so great on this album. The last time we saw a Blondie album was that The Hunter, which we all had different feelings about the cover.
Notorious.
I feel like I remember Mark loved the cover. I think it was a hot damn mess, but how do we all feel about the No Exit cover?
Oh, I love it. I think it's great. That's Rob Roth. He's an amazing artist.
Right. What a reintroduction to the band to say, like, we're here and we're now.
It's almost Videodrome-ish too, right?
Yeah.
Like Debbie on a TV screen with the scan lines. It plugs into that and her whole fascination with technology.
Yeah.
And Chris's fascination with television.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had in Fade Away and Radiate, they were even talking about a television. That was in 78. And that, you know, they've always really been into that. They did that TV party.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on the artwork before we go into now that No Exit? Isn't that a novel or something? The title came from a book, right?
Sartre?
Yeah, Sartre. It was, yeah.
It's a play, right? No Exit is a play by
Okay.
Jean-Paul Sartre.
Does anyone have any context on that for the listeners? Because I don't know too much about that. I just knew that it was a reference to something that was beyond my understanding.
Well, the play, I'm not so over familiar with it, but the theme is things that are inescapable, existential sort of dread about things that you can't escape, and making your peace with things that are inevitable.
Like Blondie getting back together, maybe?
Well, yeah, I've heard Debbie make reference to in a funny way to the inescapability of Blondie for her. Like she can't escape it. People love her in that context,
right?
More than any other. She's more popular as Blondie than in any other context. Like everybody wants her to be Blondie, so I guess that's what it's referencing maybe for her is I can't escape it. I'm going to turn around and embrace it.
I definitely think there is some magic when Debbie is in Blondie. I love the Debbie solo albums, some more than others. There's some that I really love, but I do feel like in some of the Debbie solo albums, there's a little something missing. And like, I never felt that way on the Stevie Nicks albums because Stevie solo, she had such an established band that was always the solo band. She had Sharon and Lori singing, but I feel like Debbie, for me, never established herself as a separate entity strong enough away from Blondie. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. There's some great songs there, and I think she can carry it on her own. Like she's Debbie fucking Harry, but Debbie Harry with Blondie, that's the magic of just, you know, cross decades that will be remembered forever. Scott, do you want to share what you were saying about the producer of the album before we go into the track by track? Because I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's been touched on briefly, but I think in the beginning, Mike Chapman there was talk of Mike Chapman producing it.
Mike Chapman produced the demos.
Right.
Okay. 96.
And then that didn't pan out for whatever reason. And they selected Craig Leon, who was the producer of Blondie's first single, Ex Offender and In the Sun. And so it's interesting that they went back to their roots, so to speak, you know, even beyond Richard Gotterer, to the person who produced their very first single.
Wow. And
there's the poetic justice or a circle completing itself for him to be producing their comeback album.
Cool. And I want to say this one more time, like this, you know, especially Maria, which we'll get to, was a bona fide hit. Like I heard it everywhere all the time, right alongside other stuff that was being played on the radio. And I remember just breaking into a huge smile. I'm like, this is my Blondie or our Blondie, but like right alongside, like what else was out in 99? Hit Me Baby One More Time. Right. Madonna was still releasing her singles from Ray of Light. She had Beautiful Stranger out, I think, in 99. So, Maria was right out there cruising along right with them. It was just the chef's kiss. It was so fucking good. All right. Any other thoughts before we go into the track by track? I remember sending some people messages. I'm like, I never liked No Eggs that much, but damn, I kind of fell in love with this album because I'm a musician. I played in Orlando last week, and I listened to this album to and from Orlando, and I just loved, like, I was like, okay, like I'm like, okay. So the album opens with Screaming Skin. Just to show my collection, I do have the where the hell is it? I have the little promo single with the single edit. And I think there's one on Discogs for like $7. So they don't show up very often. If someone doesn't have it, go buy it right now. But Blondie hasn't released an album since 1982, and then the track that reintroduces them is fucking Screaming Skin. To me, it sounds like it's ska, kind of ska, Madness. Does it like was that band Madness?
Mhm.
Rocksteady kind of. It just like, okay, here's Blondie. Like, that song doesn't sound like anything they'd ever done before, in my opinion. And I remember it being in the live concert. It was very memorable. It's kind of the way she's singing, like, I'm like, okay, Debbie's back. What did y'all think of Screaming Skin? What do you think of it as the reintroduction to Blondie in 1999 to the public? Well,
I thought it was a fun opener to it. I thought it was unexpected.
Yeah.
In a way, I remember a lot of people comparing them to No Doubt at the time, because No Doubt was kind of pretty big at that point.
Oh, yeah.
I remember people who were critical of Blondie and kind of like to, press my buttons, were just like, well, Blondie, there was a time when Blondie, created the trends, and now they're trying to follow the trends, and that's not cool. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I kind of feel like Blondie kind of, took their own take on it. And I thought that they had a lot of fun with it. I thought the lyric writing on this was a lot of fun. I guess the backstory to the song is that it's about Christine's illness, and it was about his body breaking out in blisters and his skin screaming.
Right. Wow.
And, yeah, and it's and when you kind of think about it, it's it's kind of like this up tempo, kooky little song, and then the subtext, the text of it is serious. It's very serious. So I love that. I love when Blondie does stuff like that and kind of takes you by surprise. And you sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to realize that that kooky little song by Blondie actually is quite serious. And that's one of the things that I love most about it. I think when she does that, I'm a multicellular individual, that kind of just makes me laugh. I think her delivery on that is just funny, and it's kind of charming.
I'm not mad at it either.
I know, and I love her growl at "Don't call me germ." I'm like, these are just great lyrics. It's just a lot of fun. So I am not angry with this song at all. I thought it was a nice introduction after so many years being away from Blondie. It has its seriousness. They're obviously have a definite vision for this, and they sound better than ever. She sounds better than ever, and I think it was exactly what I was looking for, as an introduction to them.
I think that the track, no pun intended, but screams like we're back and we're not resting on our laurels. Like, are you still along for the ride? Because like, especially Auto American and Hunter, just genre jumped so much, and this album kind of definitely continues in that tradition.
Yeah.
To me, this isn't a parallel lines where there's kind of a cohesion, and that's fine. Like, that makes some Blondie's album. It can make it a rough ride or a really good time, depending on which album you're landing on. But I love Screaming. Okay, anyone else? Screaming Skin?
Well, I kind of a questionable first song, because Debbie's vocals are a bit stylized in that one. I think that, like she's putting on a character and she's giving us a lot, but I don't know that I would want that as my introduction back, because it is, it didn't really hit me at first. I think I needed a little bit of a warm up to Blondie with, more of a Debbie vocal sound rather than kind of a put on sound that Screaming Skin is to me. And that is not to say I do not love the track. You know what I'm going to say. It's all about sequencing.
Oh, girl, here
the
she
sequence
goes.
of the songs is again, this album to me is one of those where I just feel like songs were thrown up in the air and there's no rhyme or reason as far as what follows what and in what order. So that's my only, really criticism at all, because I love the song and I love her performing it live.
Yeah.
I think it's
great. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's just a great song, but I just don't know if that is the introduction back.
All right. Any other thoughts on Screaming Skin?
I feel like what I liked about Screaming Skin, I sort of agree that I'm not sure I would have led with that track, but I think possibly what they were trying to establish was I feel like there were a lot of Easter eggs in this album that reference things about old Blondie albums for the fans. And what this reminded me of was, I would say, the theatricalness, the way that Debbie used to really act out the songs, especially on the early albums. Say, like on songs like Kung Fu Girls, Kidnapper, she'd almost like sing in character and make a character voice sometimes. Yep. And I feel like this was a homage or a throwback to that for people who remembered, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Debbie used to be really campy and she used to act it out. And, so it was kind of nice. I felt like it was kind of a nod to that for the fans. And it was endearing and it's fun. And I feel about the lyrics, I feel like it's supposed to be the illness itself singing. Like, it's not only about Chris's illness, but the illness is the protagonist.
Okay.
The illness is the one talking, which could be just my take on it, but I thought it was interesting. And I wouldn't put it past them to write a song from an illness's perspective.
No, nope.
But I liked it. I was happy with it.
All right. Any other thoughts? I give Screaming Skin 2 thumbs up. Yep. All right. Next, Forgive and Forget. Now, to me, this song is a little bit more of what I feel like kind of what you'd expect from 1999 Blondie. Debbie singing her falsetto. You kind of have some electronic elements that are circa 1999. I think it's a great song. I think it was a great, some of the sequencing in the album, I might scratch my head, but I think as a second track, I think it was really wise to have something really solid. And I don't know if safe is the right word, but this is a song that it didn't take me a lot of listens to like it. I liked it right away. What are some other songs that Debbie kind of sings in that style? I can't think off the top of my head because I'm so tired. But I love when she kind of has those high register melodies, and she just sounded great. I think this is a great song. What do y'all think of Forgive and Forget?
Yeah, I have written down like solid track. I think it is definitely a solid Blondie track. Music is great. I think it still sounds kind of fresh today. I mean,
yeah.
It's not cliched at all. I think it's just pleasant to the ear and just feels good, sounds good. Nothing but good things to say.
I did think of a song where she sings in that high register, fucking Rapture. The verses of Rapture are kind of in the same vein. All right. Anyone else want to jump in on this one?
I think it's a solid song.
Yeah.
Once again, she starts with spoken word. I think here we go again with the spoken word. And
right.
Like I said, which I think is a lot of fun. I'm not exactly sure what she's trying to say, in the song itself, but like it has a good pulse to it. I love her in that high falsetto voice. Sunday Girl's another one. Heart of Glass is another one. But Yeah, and it's one of the songs on it. I almost feel like they're taking themselves very seriously on this. You know, a lot of times on Blondie songs, there's like a little bit of irony and everything, and this is played straightforward, and
Yeah.
it's something I don't normally associate with Blondie, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying like this newer, mature, you know, quite serious Blondie. So I think it's a really good, solid song.
All right, Barry, your hand is up.
Yeah, I love that song. Forgive and Forget is so good. And it was so amazing that Chris invited me to the recording studio to see them record that song. It was I saw Screaming Skin and Forgive and Forget recorded, and it was really great. And I have a funny story about the song. There was a live recording came out, I don't know, somewhere around 2000 or something, if I remember right. And it was supposed to be called Restored, but they have a typo in it. The T was missing and it was called Restored. And on the track list, it had, instead of Forgive and Forget, it had Forgiven Forest. And I was like, how in the world did anybody ever typo for Forgiven Forest? So years and years went by. It was probably, 15 years after that. And I was typing into a Microsoft Word document, and I was typing out the name of the song. And the autocorrect, I made a typo, and I typed FOREGT and hit the space bar, and the autocorrect changed it to forget. And that's what happened, is that someone had typoed, or it converted it to forest. So FOREGT autocorrects to forest, and that's what happened. They typed the transposed letters, and the autocorrect made the song title Forgiven Forest, and they never caught it.
That's so funny.
It was hilarious.
I just looked at the songwriting credits. This is lyrics and music by Chris Stein on this one. And Screaming Skin, lyrics by Debbie and Romy Ashby, if I pronounce that right. And then the music, Chris Stein and Lee Fox, who's currently a member of Blondie, right?
Yeah, I believe Lee is either retired or semi-retired.
Okay.
At least from touring.
Is he the guy with like the big hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So this is his first appearance on a Blondie album. He'd become part of the story. All right. Forgive and Forget. And anyone else, Scott, did you want to add anything?
What was said about the spoken word? Yeah, I caught that too. It kind of, with Debbie coming in at the beginning, in the days before time, it kind of reminds me of the spoken word portion of T-Birds.
Okay.
She's talking about all the Mayan gods, and the spoken word in Dragonfly, where she's narrating the race. And again, it's like that Easter egg thing with this album, where I feel like, or I wonder if they're including those just for us, kind of like, us, these touchstones of motifs that we revisit. And one of them is Debbie doing spoken word parts in songs. So it kind of ties the present in with the past for me. And I like it. I enjoy it. It's a very beautiful lyrics to this song. And it's a pretty song. It's kind of like, has the effect on the album of that Shayla had on Eat to the Beat. It chills you out for 3 minutes and gets you ready to get your heart started again.
Right. All right. I'm giving Forgive and Forget thumbs up for sure. All right. Next, we're moving on to capital T, the single. This was the single from the album. Back in the 70s and 80s, when you heard Call Me, when you heard Heart of Glass or, Rapture, you just knew it was a damn hit. And when you heard Maria, for the first time I heard it, it really landed, boom, like it landed on me just as hard as the classic Blondie songs. And honestly, I got teary-eyed when I was in my damn car listening to it because there's such a power behind the song. Now, I'm going to tell a story that's going to ruin the song for you guys, but it's just, I'm sorry, you're on my podcast. But I was on a horrible date with a guy that smelled like bacon grease, but it was kind of hot, so I'm like, I'll still kind of go for it. But then
Who doesn't love bacon?
I know, and I didn't even get any. But he's like, he's like, I'm a drag queen, and I always do Blondie Maria. So he made me play the song. He's like, I take my jacket off, just this one part of the song, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be the fucking chorus. Like, you're so predictable, and of course it was. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. So now I can't hear the song without thinking of that horrible ride down Fowler Avenue. And of course, when my friends pulled up next, like, oh hey Jeremy, who's this you're with? I just rolled up the window and kept going. But I had to tell the story and immortalize it in the podcast. So you guys rescue Maria for me, because I always loved the song. That's so good, and I can't stop thinking of the bacon grease. Now, some of the lyrics on this, a Jimmy Destry song, some of the lyrics on the song appeared on Auto American. In which song?
Walk Like Me.
Walk Like Me. That's right. This song is just perfection. Like, now, Debbie's like, she's really kind of reaching on the chorus a little bit. I remember I worked at a pizza shop, and my manager always would like make fun of Debbie singing on the chorus, but I kind of like that she went for it. She's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going for it. I give this song 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. The lyrics are great. The music's great. Jimmy Destry, love ya. You guys all know I love my Jimmy Destry. Even in 98, baby. I could just talk about how good Maria is probably for 2 hours. And when you think about like comeback singles, like how many 80s bands or 70s bands had a comeback single that strong? Even Fleetwood Mac's comeback was like new versions of old songs. Like this was a new track that was a big hit. And even like when the Eagles came back, they had some huge albums, but there were never any singles that like infiltrated pop culture like Maria. Can you think of any other ones from bands that came back? And I guess Cher with Believe, but she was kind of around in the late 80s more. Like she didn't disappear for as long. Let me shut the fuck up, because I know you guys love Maria and want to talk about it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I mean, the first time I heard it was they played a little bit of it. You could hear it in the VH1 behind the music, and it was long before the album was released that they had released the program. And I remember it was in the back, and you could hear that dun, 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 dun. And Debbie was like talking about it, and then they gave you a little bit of the chorus. And I remember I was just sitting there, and I just started crying because I was like, what is this song?
The power of Maria.
Yeah, we had no idea, about what any of like the new Blondie was going to even sound like. Like I said, I heard a couple of the demos, but nothing that was just polished, and it was, it was right on the mark, and it was just so good. I've said this on the podcast multiple times. I love Jimmy Destry's writing, and this song has Jimmy Destry's writing. Clem's drums are so good on it. And I think Debbie's vocals are great. I don't know what your friend was like with her, reaching on the chorus. I thought she was
well. She pissed me off, and I blocked her on Instagram for other stuff.
Good, because she deserved it. She's a bitch.
I wrote a song about her on one of my albums too. So,
but it was funny. But Debbie's like Jazz Passengers days, she was working with this wonderful vocal coach who unfortunately was recently killed in New York by
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a big news story. But this, her name was Barbara. What was her like Barbara Gustern, I think her name was, and she was like an amazing vocal coach. But she took the uniqueness in people's voices and she expanded on it, and she worked on it. She usually worked with Broadway stars, but she had also worked with Diamanda Gallis, and I think that's how Debbie became interested with her. But this woman she's like, she would work with anybody and just take the uniqueness of their voice and expand it. And I think it's so obvious in this song. She just took everything that was wonderful about Debbie's voice and just made it larger and just more focused and more trained. And I just thought it was just really great. Like I said, I love Clem's drums. He gets that breakdown at the end, which was a huge scream live. I just love that. And and I thought it was just an amazing song. Like I said, when I think about it, even whatever was it, 22 years later or something, and I could get teary about it because it was just such a perfect song. I don't understand why it never charted higher in the States because it charted super high everywhere. And you couldn't escape it that year. I remember hearing it everywhere. And I don't necessarily understand what happened there. I still scratch my head on that. But I love it. The only criticism I may have on it is and I never heard it before, but my friend had said the guitar part in it, that he's like, is that Footloose?
Oh,
and every time I hear that part, I'm like, oh god damn, it's Footloose.
Oh, you
But
have
that's it.
no. I am like, this is it for me. Now, Footloose,
I don't.
I cannot.
You're gonna hear it. You can't escape it now. It's there.
I may not ever listen to the song again. I'll have to live in memory. But in your question, why was it a hit in the States? This is my question. Blondie reintroduced themselves to the United States on the American Music Awards, right? America's watching. They've got this top perfection song. I mean, it's got the instant hook appeal. It has everything, but what do they perform? They perform No Exit with all these rappers. Debbie barely sings in it. I mean, she barely even is. I mean, the rappers have more of a presence in that performance than Debbie does. And I mean, it is mind-boggling why they did not utilize that platform to introduce Maria. Because I do think that had it been introduced properly, it would have been a bigger hit in the States. So that is like my one beef with whoever makes some of these decisions is if you've got a pot of gold, you don't show up with your 10 cup. You just don't.
Well, here's my little CD single collection. I have a couple of the different Maria ones than the US one. And didn't the US single come out a little bit later? Like, I feel like there was a delay in the release, which might have also contributed to the charting. Further thoughts on Maria? Scott.
Debbie, in interviews I've noticed, has sometimes, she doesn't put down this song, but she says, oh, it was so pop. Almost like, ugh, it was so pop. I would have liked to do something less pop. I would have liked to lead with something more adventurous and then put Maria out later. And I so wholeheartedly disagree. I think this was the perfect song for them to come back with. And I don't think it's too pop. I'm not even sure if it's possible for Blondie to be too pop for me. I love when they're pop, I love their pop song. Pretty Baby. It's like, I can't get enough. And this is really like a Blondie song in the old vein. It sounds like it could be off with that harmonica that just comes in here and there.
Yeah.
Or it sounds like, reminds me of the harmonica in Each of the Beat.
Yeah.
And the bells.
And the bells.
The chimes, yeah.
Yeah, when have we heard bells since
Like
the
In
end
the
of
Flesh?
Mail? Or yeah, you're right.
There's another Easter egg.
Another Easter egg. Yeah, totally. And I have to say, Jimmy Destry, more than any other, maybe more than any other songwriter in Blondie, he's capable of writing songs today that sound like classic Blondie songs. And that's also true of Nothing Is Real But the Girl. Those are the two songs on this album, this one and that sound just like they could have stepped off of one of the first 5 or 6 albums. He's so good at that.
While still sounding current for the times, which is now no easy feat.
Yes.
Now, here's a hot take for the podcast audience. I think it's easier to write a mediocre to good weird song than it is to write a classic intelligent pop song. Like, people all want to shit on pop and put it down. It's not easy to come up with that magic. You know what I mean? Like, Maria, that secret sauce of having the perfect song like Maria is such a 1 in a million that I feel like it's just to put that talent down just is not very self-aware. I feel like and I'm not saying that disrespectfully, but like that is a pot of gold. Like, take it for what it is.
I think we have Clem Burke to thank in a lot of ways for fighting the good fight for pop music. Because I think more than any other member of Blondie, he's a bona fide pop music lover.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, for how many years did he say his favorite band was the Bay City Rollers? I mean, that was kind of a ballsy statement to make at the time when everybody was like, what? It's not the Ramones. It's not the Sex Pistols. It's not even the Beatles. It's the Bay City Roll. He had the balls to say that. And I applaud him for that. He likes what he likes.
The thing
And he
about
loves
Blondie
good
is
hood.
the thing about Blondie is when Blondie's at its poppiest, it's still intelligent enough to still appeal to the more alternative crowd. Like, you know,
They're
this
great
isn't
at it.
yeah, this isn't Debbie Boone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
This isn't the
Debbie
Carpenters, no
Gibson.
disrespect, but like this is intelligent pop. Even at their poppiest, I just feel like it's very high level.
Yep.
Like Maria's not generic lyrics by any means. They're wonderful lyrics.
Absolutely.
Barry, do you want to add anything? Because I'm curious how this song landed with you as the big Blondie comeback, being the huge fan that you've always been.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was the greatest thing, and I was, you know, I'm somebody who doesn't really know anything about what's going to be a hit. I couldn't have known that. Jimmy Destry told me that he really believed it was going to be a huge hit, and he was right. For me, it wasn't my favorite track on the album. It was good. I love Jimmy Destry's work, but you know, that there's a reason why I'm not someone who decides what's released. I tend to like the obscure.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on Maria? Thumbs up though from everybody. All right, next we have the church organ from the haunted house comes in. Then you have a like new metal guitar beat. You have Debbie rapping and then singing. You have Coolio showing up. No Exit is either experimental genius or hot fucking mess, and I'm not quite sure which one I think. Clearly they were like, we're here, we're staking our claim. It's 1999, but I'm just gonna say something that might be controversial, but I don't think Debbie's the best rapper. Like, I know she was there when it all started, and I love that she did Rapture, but you know, Debbie rapping in 81 when it kind of wasn't an established genre. Okay, I'll take the Man from Mars and the guitars, but by the time we get to 99, after everything that happened with Dre and Snoop and, you know, rap kind of rising to prominence, when Debbie gets back on the microphone to rap, it just landed a little differently to me. But the thing that saved the song for me is that it didn't last too long. Then she started going into the hook of the chorus and like, oh, okay. Oh. So I probably just pissed off everyone, but No Exit is very interesting. The title track of the album. I do have the CD single here, and then I have this pretty rare promo that I was lucky to buy from another Blondie fan. That has
There's a 12-inch of that.
yeah, yes, there is. What do you guys think of the song? I went through a lot of emotions when I was listening to it in my car.
Silence. I'll say something. I kind of like that they threw in the what is it? Da 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 da. It's from the Hall of the Mountain King, I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cute thing to throw in. For me, it's almost a novelty song. It's got 5 songwriters. Like you said, it showcases Coolio more than Blondie. It's kind of a novel idea, you know, like a vampire. Is it a vampire song? I think, but it's not my favorite song. I wouldn't say it's a highlight of the album, and it's not the song I would have picked for their television reappearance either.
I do like the hook though, where she's like, dun, 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 dun. I can't remember what she's saying, but
It's got some good stuff in it.
just when they
I
about lost
appreciate
me.
I appreciate what they were going for. I like that they brought in, you know, an actual person, a rapper, you know, with it. I thought Debbie actually held her own better than I would have thought she would have. with the rap part. I thought she did, she holds
Yes.
her own, she doesn't sound ridiculous, I don't think. I mean, I actually like the beginning part of it. It kind of like, what is that, fugue that's, starting it off. But I think it's, yet another rap song about some monster, the beast. It's yet now we've got, okay, why not rap about a vampire? It's like if anybody were to criticize Blondie about the rapping, I think it's because she doesn't rap about relevant, real topics or issues. It's always some put upon creature or made up entity. So I think that I think that probably in the rap culture, she's probably looked down upon a little bit for that piece of things. But I think she's having fun, and on that version, the version that's on the album, I think that she's having a good time, and that's what I want for her. I want this for you. If this is what you want, put it out there. All right.
I definitely appreciate the ambition, and that beginning reminds me of like fucking Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, movie macabre.
That's what's kind of fun about it to me.
I appreciate the ambition. Like, oh, what the fuck? Like, it's just like one of those like, what the fuck? Okay, we're along for the Blondie ride. I definitely liked it more in 2023 than I did in 99. I remember the time I'm just like, oh, skip. But now I'm like, all right. I see the landscape of the time. I see what they're trying to do. And you know what? Why not? That's how I feel now. Why not? I don't think I'd ever skip it. I'll sing along to the hook. I'll be glad that the rap verses aren't too long.
I mean, there's definitely a ridiculousness to it that I really just gravitate towards.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like it when they're being a bit absurd and a bit like, ridiculous or corny in this case or something. I do remember when it first came out, everyone's like, oh, you can't play, don't play that. They're like, oh, turn that off. Like a lot of my hip hop, friends and stuff, they were just like, oh no. And I do have to say over the years though, I'm like, when it's popped up occasionally live, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun live. And I know that they were doing it in Europe last year on their summer tour, and it sounded really good. I think it sounded really good. But like I said, it's just one of those like ridiculous, kind of songs that I just think is like so funny. An example I would give is like when this song will pop up, when I'm shuffling my music and stuff, it pops up, and then I just like start rapping to it ridiculously. And I have a 9-year-old son, and it just embarrasses the hell out of him. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute, something's wrong. It's lunatic. It's mad insane." He's like, "No, stop."
But you're like, I know all the words though.
He's like, "No, don't do that." But yeah, it's just I like it when Blondie get like silly and weird, and I do understand what you were saying, Jeremy. I definitely feel quite different to it in 2023 than I did in 99. In 99, I was kind of like, all right, let's just go.
Yeah.
And just put this aside. Although I did like the All Stars version. I did like with more rappers. I mean, I actually kind of like that a little bit better. But
It's interesting because Jimmy's on a couple of the other Phonogenics podcasts now. We're doing Janet Jackson's 20YO soon. There's a few rappers on that one, and Jimmy, I had to admit publicly here first, I spent about a half hour learning Kia's rap. I'm so excited, so now I can do the whole thing. So after spending time with Kia, it was a little hard to digest Debbie's rapping. You got me licking on my lolly like it's something to eat. All right, back to Blondie. Any other thoughts on No Exit? Bye. I give it thumbs up though, even though I had a little bit to say.
oh yeah.
I give it
Barry or Scott, did you guys have anything? Oh, Scott.
I give it a wiggle waggle. I can live without it. It's fine. I can listen to it and enjoy it, but my ears don't prick up when it starts.
I just feel like they're claiming some geography with the song. Like they're just kind of like putting their stake in the ground.
They're reminding us we are always going to be experimental. We will always do something that, we're not just going to keep doing parallel lines, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. And, that's kind of what we have come to expect. as part of the Blondie formula, is that wild card.
But damn, Parallel Lines was so damn good, though.
I would love Parallel Lines 3.0, 4.0, 5.0.
I would take 5.0
I don't think we'll ever get
over
that.
damn fucking Coolio. Amish Paradise. All right. Any other thoughts on No Exit? Next, we have with Candy Duffler. Duffler, is that how you say your name? Dulfer. Double Take. Lyrics Debbie Harry. Music Chris Stein. This is a little bit, the tempo slowing down a little bit. A little bit of a ballad. A little synthesizer in there, right? If I remember right. I thought this was a pleasant song. I don't have much to say about it. I thought it was a nice palate cleanser after that fucking hot mess we just got through that I kind of liked. It. But it was nice to have something that's like, you can kind of exhale and be like, ooh, I'm just going to just relax during this song. Well, what do you guys think of Double Take?
I love it. I really appreciate Debbie's precise diction in this song. I just think that every note she sings and every word she says is so precise and on the mark. I mean, it's a great ballad. And I think that there's an acoustic version. Didn't they do that on the Bravos Musician that is just gorgeous?
Okay.
So I mean, I just think it's a great solid ballad from Blondie. Nothing bad, nothing negative at all to say from me.
I think it kind of fits in the pocket of kind of sounding a little bit like familiar Blondie, but modernized. And a couple of things on the album kind of felt Debbie's solo career Blondie-ized a little bit, which I'm not mad at. Like there's stuff off every Blondie or Debbie solo album that I absolutely love, and there's some of her solo albums I like all the way through. So we'll have to discuss them someday. Any other thoughts on Double Take? All right, well, thumbs up. Scott, I love it. You're like,
I have to reserve my thumbs up for the ones I really love, but it's fine. It's
no,
pretty,
I love it. I love different opinions. Otherwise, it'd just be boring. And I might be, well, no, I'm not too generous. I kind of ripped on the Hunter though. Okay,
to me, it's like Shayla without the like
without a hook, right?
Yeah, it's like Shayla without the hook. It's like that's my only criticism is I wish there was another part of the song that soared a little bit or was more different from the rest.
I felt like that about
yeah.
I felt like that about a couple songs on this album. Like everything was there except that
the hook
to really. So next we have Nothing Is Real But the Girl. So I have this CD single, I have this one, and I have this one, and I am going to share my screen because everyone on this podcast knows that I'm looking for this version. So if anyone watching has one for sale, I'll pay whatever you want because I hate having things on my Discogs want list. All right. Back to the podcast. What do you all think of the song?
Love it.
Love it. Yeah.
Classic
Blondie.
I love it. Yeah. It's
fun. I love the mixing of this one. The vocals are really right up front. If you're with this one, the vocals are right there. But the drums are way back. If you listen to this one, I think it's surprising how far back the drums are, given the song itself. I think that it was interesting, the mixing choices, but I think it is just a classic Blondie. And this is again one, I just wonder if it couldn't have been a little bit bigger. I mean, I know they made some remix. There's a radio remix. There's a Boiler House mix, right. And I think that one might actually be my favorite one, the Boiler House one.
There's a single mix in an album with different verses and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this song is great. Love it. So I like it.
Jimmy Destry, right?
Jimmy Destry again, yeah. Jimmy Destry. Yeah, I love this song. I think it's great. I love the remix to it also. I mean, and at this time in my life when this came out, I was, going to the clubs.
Yeah.
And I actually like the remix to this.
Oh, the Denny Tenegla.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
remixes to
dance
this one I
one.
thought were way better than what they gave us for Maria.
Oh,
I can
absolutely.
remember this was being
Yes.
really, really big in the clubs, and it was just it was a lot of fun at that time. It brings back very fond memories every time I hear this song. I was like, oh yeah, that was a fun night, you know. So but yeah, I have nothing bad to say about the song. Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Easter egg. Does anybody know what the Easter egg is in this song?
It has the word girl like Sunday girl.
Well, yes. And it also has from Susie and Jeffrey. That's playing under what she's singing. So, and that was the melody line of Susie and Jeffrey. And it's very definitely the same exact thing while she's singing over it some other melody. And I'm sure that's purposeful. And it's fun. It's, how much do we love little Blondie Easter eggs?
Did Jimmy Destry write Susie and Jeffrey? Does anyone know off the top of their head?
I don't think
Chris
so.
and Debbie wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's just a reference. Yeah.
Are we all thumbs up on that one?
If I had 3 thumbs, I would give it 3 thumbs
up. Mark's got the fire.
I have no idea why this is happening.
I think it's great. I'm here for it.
I have no idea why that happened.
My ratings are definitely going up. Keep whatever you're doing, keep it going, please. All right. Boom Boom in the Zoom Zoom Room. I feel like this was on that VH1 concert. I remember it. To me, you know what this song reminded me of with that organ underneath? Fucking early Fleetwood Mac before Stevie and Lindsay joined. Like Bob Welsh made some really eerie like songs like Hypnotize that kind of had that organ. I always remember this as being a jazz song, but it is kind of jazzy, but it's also kind of weird. I don't know. What do you guys think of this song? It's another experiment, I feel like.
Well, interestingly, I played the album for a friend who was not a particular big Blondie fan, and she really gravitated towards that track. Interestingly enough,
okay,
she really felt like Debbie, her vocals were well suited for a jazzy kind of atmosphere. Which clearly this, you've got the this song is nothing but atmosphere, really. I think it's interesting. It may not be for everyone, but it's kind of like an experimental jazz passenger vibe to it.
Yeah, that's what I thought when it came out. I'm like, okay, Debbie did the Jazz Passengers. Have a little. This isn't I'd never probably be sitting in my room and be like, I need to listen to Boom Boom in the Zoom Zoom Room. Because my theme song would be Ain't Getting No Boom Boom in Any Room. So anyhow.
This song has 5 songwriters, by the way, right? It's like Debbie, Romy Ashby, Clem Burke, Kathy Valentine.
And you all know who Kathy Valentine is, right? From the Go-Go's. She's from the Go-Go's.
So it's got a lot of fingers in the mix. I'm glad. I think it's the only time Clem Burke was ever credited with co-writing something. So I'm happy for him that he gets more royalties off this album from that.
Where the hell did Kathy come from?
I don't know.
She had her side projects.
Clem? Yeah, didn't she and Clem do stuff? Well,
her and Clem were
that's wide open right there.
Yeah,
she had that band Blue Bonnets. Is that their name?
Yes, that's
kind
correct.
of rockabilly.
And Kathy and Clem had a romantic relationship for a time.
Okay,
and they're very close friends.
Okay. I love the Go-Go's and I love Kathy Valentine, so I think it's
Clem
cool.
actually came to one of her shows in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay,
and, we hung out with them.
Clem's so fucking cool, man. He's like the secret sauce of Blondie, just cool as fuck.
He's also filled in for Gina Shock, I think, a couple of times for the Go-Go's.
Oh shit!
I feel like I've seen pictures of him with them, and the caption, like, Clem's filling in tonight. I could be wrong about that, but I think he did.
No, you're right about that. You're right about that. He has filled in a few times for Gina on the Go-Go's. He also wrote on this album. You also said that this is. He also wrote with Kathy Valentine later on in the album on Divine, which is another song. Yeah. But back to Boom Boom in the Zoom Zoom Room. I actually like the song. I think it's a lot of fun. I like her vocals on it.
Her vocals are good.
I think the vocals are really good. And I remember at the time, Craig Leon saying that he really wanted to pursue a jazz album, a solo jazz album for Debbie, because he really thought that she had the chops to do something, really, really good. And he couldn't quite get that up and running. But I know he had her sing on a couple of tracks for an Italian music compilation called Cinema Italiano, I think it was called. And her vocals are beautiful on it. They're like,
Love Comes By.
They're tender. They're so tender and so just vast and beautiful. And I've had people say, "Who is this vocalist? This is amazing." I'm like, "That's Debbie Harry." And they're like, "No, it's not." They were like thinking it was like, but just absolutely beautiful. But I also feel, I love when I love this period in her career where she was just being very, very experimentative with her voice.
Yeah.
Really serious with her voice. I just love it. And so I'm really, really fond of this song.
All right.
Returning to her beatnik roots, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Move over, Wind in the Willows.
Uh-huh.
All right.
We should do that album sometime.
Don't make me listen to that again. I do have it on CD. Okay. Next, Night Wind Scent. Another Harry Ashby on the lyrics. Fox and Stein. Now, this is the song where I personally felt like Debbie was reaching a little bit with the vocals. Like she was, if this is the one I'm thinking of, like it just felt like I was reaching a little bit. But overall, I did like the song. What do you guys think of this one?
It was fine. I'm not crazy about it. I think the lyrics are just a little too. Like I said earlier, I like Blondie when there's like a little touch of irony in there or a little bit of sarcasm. And, there was just something that just didn't ring true or, to me about it. Not that it's bad. It's just a little middle of the road to me.
Yeah, I feel like if you're serious, then have something to say then. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah. And I felt like the lyrics were almost too poetic in a way, they were just, and that's just my take on it. But so it's not my favorite. It's not, I feel uneven about it. I will say I did enjoy it more when they did do it on that musician show on Bravo. And her voice in that performance, because it was just much, the arrangement was stripped back. It was really acoustic. You just got the huskiness of her voice, and you got the, it was just unadorned, and it was much, it was just more beautiful and more raw. I kind of liked it better like that. On this album, I just feel kind of uneven about it.
I mean, I think it was pleasant to the ear. I mean, it doesn't jump out at me as like something, I back up from. And I think that it has a nice kind of beat that drives it along. I think that goes a long way in this song per se. But I enjoyed it.
Okay.
There's a very nice version of that song on a compilation promo CD called Joyful Noise. I believe it was recorded in Chicago on August 14th in 99. And Debbie's vocal performance on it was just phenomenal. I love that version way more than the album version.
Wow.
All right, I'll have to check that out. Okay, well, I give it kind of like not a thumbs up, but yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, next we have Under the Gun. Chris Stein wrote the lyrics and music. This is the one that to me kind of gave me Auto-American vibes a little bit. Just the way it kind of shuffled along. But without the hook. I was missing the hook. It had the movement and had the energy, but then it didn't have that like on Auto-American. It always took you that unforgettable chorus, and I just felt like this song
horns.
Yeah, there would have been some horns too.
It's like go through it, right? It's like go through it a little bit.
That's what I wrote. It reminiscent of Go Through It, but no horns.
Yeah,
I don't have much else.
I like it. I think it stands out.
It does.
Yeah, I think it definitely stands out. Yeah, it was. This is one of the demos that I heard. A few years prior, and the demo was a little rough, and I really feel like Debbie, she hadn't quite found her voice yet in the song and stuff, and it sounded like it was like a little breathy and a little like hesitant in the demo. And then when I finally heard this, I was like, oh, they pulled it together, and I believe it's a little more sped up on this version. And I thought it was much better. But then it was about Jeffrey Lee Pierce from the Gun Club, and then when you see the play on words and everything, under the gun, and just the hand that his life took, it's really it's very sweet. It's a very loving song, and then to have his vocals actually on it is really, really kind of haunting in a way. So for that reason, I really like the song. I do agree it is kind of lacking that big hook, but I find the message of it really, really wonderful. And once again, I know Chris has said in the past, or I'm reading in interviews, that he's not always fond of his lyrics or not fond of lyric writing. And I think his lyrics are really beautiful. I think his lyrics are really beautiful in this song.
He's so humble.
So I like this song quite a bit.
I really love that demo version called Colorado. I don't know what it was, but there's something about that it wasn't overproduced at all. It was really rough. I've always kind of liked that about some of their material that I've heard that maybe didn't make an album or made to a B-side, something like that. But an interesting story about that song, Chris told me that he had a lot of trouble writing that song, a lot of trouble with the lyrics, especially, that he like couldn't make a lot of progress. And then all of a sudden one day he realized that it was about Jeffrey Lee Pierce. I guess he didn't know that at the beginning, but when he realized that, he was able to finish it pretty much immediately, like within like an hour and a half, he was done. And they really, really loved Jeffrey Lee Pierce. He was produced by Chris. I think it was in '81, maybe even more than one album, but Chris was producing on that. And some of the tapes that were found and cataloged that Chris had, some of which were damaged in floods over the years, were masters of Jeffrey Lee Pierce's material.
Awesome. Well, any other thoughts on this song before we move on? I'll still give it thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Next we have Out in the Streets. This is a song that they did in the early days, correct? But it was 1999ized. I actually love this version. I listened to this version over and over. I thought it was the perfect mix between kind of contemporary sounds of 99. Then when it kind of goes into the girl group, I just think it's Blondie magic. I love it. How do you all feel about this one? Am I alone in my love, or do you all agree with me?
It is somewhat hard, given I played the demo version like literally to death back in the day, because I absolutely loved it. So it is kind of like what if your favorite children now has an evil twin or something, So it took, I had to learn to appreciate this version for itself and not compare it back to the version in the past. I think it's great, interesting arrangement. I don't think it sounds. I think it sounds completely out of place after Under the Gun. I don't think that serves the song well at all. But it's kind of like a very modern girl group sound to it. So, I share Jeremy's fondness for it.
Barry, you got me looking to buy that Joyful noise sampler, and there's none for sale online anywhere.
I'll give you the file. I have the WAV files of everything.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts on the Out in the Streets 99?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's fun. It depends on the day on which version I like better. It's do I like a very polished, produced version of it, or do I like the more raw? It just depends on how I'm feeling that day. It was funny. I remember when I was re-listening to it, I was like, oh, that has just a drum loop on it. It doesn't even have Clem on it, but he does play on it. You can hear them, and it actually sounds pretty cool. Mixed in with the drum loop. I thought it was really cool. I like Debbie's harmonies a lot on it. I think they sound really, really great, when she's actually singing the actual lyrics. They do have added backing vocals on it. That's not Debbie on it. And I actually don't think it's necessary. I think if you had just stuck with the straight harmonies of Debbie, I think it would have been like a very stripped down, that you don't hang around. I thought that would have been just great. But I'm still, I think it's fun. I think it's great. I think it was, a throwback. So it was like a little wink, to the old fans and everything. So fun. It was fun.
Another Easter egg, if you will.
Yes. There are so many versions of this song now, because when the box set came out this past year, there was yet another demo version of Out on the Streets that we hadn't heard from 1974. So now there's the 74 version, the 75 version, and the 99 version to choose from. So yeah, whichever one is your favorite, you can, or it's fun to skip around and compare them and contrast them. Personally, I feel like this one's a little bit lifeless compared to the earlier ones. I wish it was a teeny bit more lively somehow, but it's a poignant song, so maybe that's why it sounds that way. It's perfect for her voice. It's Shangri-La's and Blondie are they're cousins. Of course, it's going to work. And I like it. I can. There are things I can find to pick at, but I'm generally happy with it.
I feel like the beat almost had like a tinge of like maybe Portishead, or just like kind of like trip hoppy thing that was going on in that decade. All right.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? I gave it thumbs up. I did love it. Because it almost starts off, it's the demo version so major key and poppy, and this one starts off kind of ominous and dark and then goes into the light. So it's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah. It's darker. Or steely. I always think it has a steely sound to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
All right, next is Happy Dog. You got some slide guitar. When I was listening to it, I'm like, I felt like they pulled the guitar riff off Money for Nothing. Definitely had that rock thing. This wasn't one of my favorite songs, but I also didn't hate it. I wasn't like, oh, this sucks, but kind of a straight ahead rock song. What did you guys think of this one?
Well, all the double entendres in that one is kind of, it's kind of hard to really appreciate the song without acknowledging kind of the sly entendres they're slipping in there with the lyrics. I mean, I think it's a different guitar opening than what we have typically heard from Blondie. So there's that. And again, it's one, I don't dislike it. I wouldn't skip it.
It's dedicated to Debbie's mother, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Well, wow, her mother must be really something with these.
It's a weird song to dedicate.
My little
It
mud,
says
whatever.
for Caggie. Is Caggie her mom?
Yes.
Her mom's, Cag was her mom's nickname. Yeah. I don't put that together. That's kind of, now I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm like, that's
of all the songs she could have dedicated.
Right.
Doggy sex song.
Yeah.
How many Debbie Dog songs are there? Dog Star Girl, wasn't that one?
Yes.
This one, Jump Jump.
Oh yeah.
Jump, yeah.
I don't know. There might be more. Say it in the comments, anybody, if you can think of anyone. All right. I'll give it I have no opinion. I guess a thumbs up. Sideways.
I don't like it.
Thumbs down.
I like it all right.
Because there's some Blondie songs that I'm like, girl. But this one, like, I'm still okay. Next, we are heading over to Nellie Merchant's House Carpenter's Daughter, Appalachia.
Next on the Grand Ole Opry, we have
The Dreams Lost on Me, lyrics by Ashby, music by Stein and Harry. You know what? I'm fucking here for it, though. Blondie doing a little Americana. I thought Debbie sounded great. Blondie likes to experiment, and to me, a lot of times when people experiment, it just sounds like they're trying on a genre for size. And I didn't feel like that with the song. I felt like it felt genuine to me. I really like it. What do you guys think of this one?
Because there was no artifice with her vocals. You know, this, like, she wasn't putting on anything or trying to be a certain way. She just delivers this song. And I mean, I really like the lyrics, like the song. I think I heard her perform it maybe at Carnegie Hall or something, at a rainforest tribute or something one time, and it was really interestingly done. But those could be brain cells that were, you know, damaged over the years too.
They did do a performance on the A&E Live by Request.
Oh yeah,
that was a little bit more stripped down. I think that was just Chris and Paul at the time, just accompanying her. And I like her. I liked her. She sang it slightly higher in that, and it was a sweeter vocal, a sweeter take on the vocal. And although I like both vocals, I kind of like the stripped down version a little bit better. I remember when it first came out. I remember a review saying that when referring to this song, Blondie opens a can of country corn, and I was just like, well, that kind of describes it. You know, I didn't know if that was good or bad. But over the years, I've learned to really, really appreciate this song, and I think it's a very good song. It's a really good song, and I like the performance. I like the sound of it. I like the violin. I think that's a nice touch in the song. So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites on the album.
Well, one of my brain cells just told the other one it was not the rainforest benefit. I think it was the Tibet house benefit.
Mm.
So I think that was actually one of my brain cells woke up. So it helped me with that.
Well, not to be bitchy, but on a Blondie Live by Request call-in concert, I feel like who the fuck called to get this song played? I feel like Debbie told
her
like
a bonus.
I feel like Debbie told her assistant, like, "Hey, we call and request."
I don't think this was a request.
Okay.
This a bonus?
It was, yeah, it was actually part of the encore.
Okay.
They did it after the broadcast ended and the audience stayed.
Okay.
And they did it as an encore. They did that. And
I'm being a twat anyway, so.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
they did Touched by Your Presence.
They did 4 songs after that. They did the show, the part that was recorded and broadcast, and then Paul and Chris and Debbie did 4 acoustic songs. I don't remember what they were, but I was there for that. The management gave 100 tickets or so to give away through the Blondie.net website.
Yeah, I kind of do remember that, and like remember you may have put out feelers on that, and I'm like, you know, so mad at myself for not making more of an effort to participate, because what a great thing to have been a part of. But the 4 songs were The Dreams Lost on Me, End to End, Hello Joe, and I'm Always Touched by Your Presence, Dear. And then they're on the DVD.
Which album is End to End from?
Curse.
Curse.
Okay, that's why we haven't gotten there yet. All right. Did Blondie tackle this genre ever again? Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but
not this way.
Not this way.
Not this way.
Well, what's the song on Pollinator that kind of has that country feel?
The one I skip over. I think that's the one I skip.
It was a different kind of country than this.
A totally different kind of country. Yeah, this is more. Yeah,
I feel like this is more like Virginia Mountain, West Virginia. Mm-hmm. All right, well, good job, Blondie. You conquered that one. All right. Next, we are moving on. Oh, thumbs up for that one, if anyone's still voting. Divine, we have Kathy Valentine and Clem Burke back doing lyrics and music for this one. This one was reggae again a little bit, which is, you know, we start off the album with ska, now we're slowing it down a little bit with the reggae. I didn't mind it. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's not a skip for me, but it doesn't exactly like jump out to me either. What did you guys think of this one?
Well, I actually love the lyrics. I thought the lyrics were great in the sense that they almost seem like a continuation of Presence Dear to me somehow. And And I like that this has more of a simplicity than any of the other songs in the album to me. In the production, it isn't quite as excessive with, lots of sounds in the mix. So I thought it was not out of, not overly produced, and I, appreciate it for that.
Okay.
Yeah, as I was listening to it today, I was taken by like the simplicity of it, and I was like, it sounds like it was. It sounds like it was kind of written by a drummer, and it was basically, like it was just basically about the beat and stuff, and it has like a very simple groove to it, and but I was kind of remembering that I wasn't particularly like I could take it or leave it, and then that chorus came in, and I'm like, I forgot this chorus is kind of infectious, and the Blondie is. I was like, oh, I like this. And then as I was listening to him, realizing that Kathy Valentine wrote it, I was like, I could hear Belinda Carlisle sing this too. And I was like, this is a very Go-Go's kind of lyric and stuff. And I was like, it would not have a reggae beat, but I could totally hear Belinda singing those words. So
I agree.
Yeah, but I liked it a lot. More than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I think this song really might be a grower too, and I didn't spend tons of time with the album, so I think this definitely is one that I could see myself learning to appreciate more with more time.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on this one? I give it thumbs up. I enjoyed it. All right. Speaking of ambition, the album certainly ends with an ambitious track. Dig Up the Congo. Destry wrote the music. No, the lyrics. Destry, Stein, and Harry wrote the music. We have all the guys singing along. We have Debbie living her best life in the vocal booth. I enjoyed it as an album closer. You kind of like, what were the album closers in the past? You have the Attack of the Giant Ants, Cautious Lip. I mean, Blondie albums sometimes do end with some weird songs.
With an epic.
Yeah. Of course, you have like Living in the Real World. But what did Auto American end with? That cover song? Yeah, Follow Me. So I feel like this one was kind of like, Scott brought up the Easter egg. This reminded me of kind of the first couple Blondie albums where it just ended with that song. What did you get? That song. I don't know how else
Just
to say
go
it.
away.
Yeah,
just go away. I love it. I've always said I like Blondie when they're weird. And I thought this was them at their weirdest, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I love the overlay of the vocals and when she gets into that kind of maybe even off kilter, tonality and stuff where it's just so high and it's, yeah, I love it. It's like a classic Blondie weird closer.
And I don't want to say there's good Blondie weird and bad Blondie weird, but there's works for me Blondie weird and okay, I respect that, but not my thing Blondie weird. And I think we've even ran into that on this album, but this is my kind of Blondie weird right here. I actually listened to it 3 times in a row.
It's Zombie Voodoo, right? It's a Zombie Voodoo song. It's got funny lyrics like, don't, it's only a zombie, honey, hailing a cab, but don't look in his face or something. It's got humor. It's got that Monster Mashy sort of feeling. And it's catchy. I liked it. I think it's fun. A fun way to close the album.
Yeah,
I love it as the album closer. Love it. Oh. That one was placed very well, perfectly placed.
Mark that down, y'all. And then, of course, you had a lot of different editions. They tacked on a lot of live versions, which I kind of didn't like that they did that because I felt like it kind of cheapened the relevance of the new material by tacking on not great live versions of. I mean, I didn't mind the live versions, but they weren't the versions I'd go to when there's other stuff out there, and I just felt it was unnecessary. We didn't need a version of One Way or Another 1999 to buy this album because the material was so strong and great. So that's just my take on that. I don't know how you guys felt. I know there's a song called Hot Shot that was a bonus track in various places, Japan. But yeah, I feel like when veteran artists start tagging on like the old hits as live versions, like, wait, this album's so good, Blondie, you didn't need to do that.
It can muddy the waters a little bit.
Yeah.
Like bonus tracks can go either way. They can be sometimes. I think I don't know whether it was Panic of Girls. The bonuses were so good that I wish they had been part of the main album.
Yeah, Panic at
And then-
Girls. I love
oh
that.
my god! And then other times it's like they just muddy the water. It would have
What's
been
that
better.
song? End of the World. Is that the name of the bonus track?
Oh, that's one of his.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite ones of all of them.
Yes.
Such a
Kurt-
great song.
It's so good. Yeah, I was just looking at my CD because I was like, I don't think my CD had live versions of other songs on it. So
And I think those live versions are the same ones that ended up on this album, the live album that came out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but my No Exit one, it ends with the Dig Up the Conjo.
So does mine. So does mine.
Yeah.
And this might be a controversial statement, but I actually love most of the Ghosted Download album. And I kind of wish that had been a standalone release. I think it's fine that they paired it with the re-recordings, and I know that's something we'll talk about in a few months. But I just wish that I like when an album. I'm an album person, and I love these bands, and like trust the material, man. It's good. So,
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts on No Exit?
I have a comment. I wanted to mention that they had a few promotional items for No Exit. They had album flats, the 12 by 12 was double-sided of the album cover, and they made stickers that on the front it had Blondie, and on the back it said something like No Exit, out February 1999. I have extras if anybody's looking for one. And also a shout out to one of the demos that didn't make the album was a song by Gary Valentine called Amor Fati.
Is it a good song?
It's on YouTube.
I like it.
It's on YouTube, isn't it?
Okay, I'll check it out.
Sure.
And Gary Valentine was part of the reunion in some incarnations, right? But didn't make it to the album.
Yes, and he actually played at the first 3 live shows.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I think I put in the email that I'm hoping we can do the Curse of Blondie on December 6th, so I can take the rest of December off. So mark your calendars. I'm gonna do all my podcasts for the whole month in 1 week, so I can just chill out and enjoy the holidays. But Blondie No Exit, scale of 1 to 10. How do we rank this album? I will say that it was a lot better than I remembered, and I don't think I listened to it a lot when it came out, but I'm gonna keep it in my car. Every time I listen to it, I like it more and more, and I feel like it's kind of like an onion. The layers get revealed the more you listen to it, and it's one of those albums that keeps giving the more you listen to it. So, a really solid comeback, in my opinion. I love it. Good job, Blondie. Jimmy, you want to go last because you got to do your resequence, so we're saving you for last.
Okay.
Oh, unless you want to start it off.
I don't. That's up to you.
Start it off. Give us your rating and give us your resequence.
Right. I'm rating it after I gave The Hunter a 7, and Auto American a 10. This is getting an 8.5 in the Blondie world for me.
Okay.
I think it is a lot of progress over The Hunter in the sense of The Hunter felt, well, you know how, I was just not a feeling The Hunter. I really probably was the most negative that one could even be about that album. But this one, I really tried in resequencing it to make it make sense for me. And what I wanted to do was utilize all the material. Because even The Hunter, I was like trashing songs. I was like, I'm not even putting that on there. But so in my world, this would be sequenced with, and I would open it with No Exit, and probably it's to bookend. I think it's a great bookend for Dig Up the Conjo, which I think is the perfect closer. So I thought, if that's closing it, No Exit would make sense to open it, and plus to kind of get it out of the way, honestly. I think Screaming Skin sounds great after No Exit. I'm going with what Barry said about Chris's, the third song is the one. So I'm going with Chris's Rule and putting Maria in third song. Then I'm going in with Out in the Streets, Nothing Is Real But the Girl. I particularly like the Boiler House version. Divine, Forgive and Forget, Boom Boom in the Zoom Zoom Room. And now I'm going to pick up some of the demos because Studio 54 is so great. I have no earthly idea why in the world Nothing was ever done with that song because it is, I think, a great track. I love it. Then I would put Hot Shot because it just naturally follows up Studio 54. Then we would go to Double Take, Dreams Lost on Me. Happy Dog sounds really good after the Dreams Lost on Me. Then Under the Gun, Night Wind Scent, and Dig Up the Conjo.
Okay.
So we got.
All right. Mark, you're next.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, this was a solid comeback album. It was funny as I was like going over the whole album and everything. The album itself didn't really necessarily match my enthusiasm or the excitement that I was having at the time, because that was just manic at the time, and it was just great. We were getting live shows, and so and we were getting TV appearances, we were getting press, we were getting radio play. I was like, that was amazing. So that I'm grateful for this time period and everything. But I think the album is solid. I give it like an 8.5. It has some excellent songs, but unlike say like a Parallel Lines, which nearly every song on Parallel Lines is a classic, this album does not have that. It has good songs, it has good solid songs, and I love nearly every single one on it. So I give it an 8.5. I think it was really good.
Sweet. All right, Barry.
I certainly have to agree with both of those. I'll make the third one. I'll call it 8.5 as a nod to the producer's cut. But yes, I thought it was a great comeback album, and it was one thing I liked is to see some of Clem's writing on it. That's unique.
All right, Scott, you're giving your first Phonogenics rating.
I'm going to be the bitch of the group and give it a 7, only because I hold Blondie to such a high standard that if, say, Parallel Lines is a 10, this can't be an 8. They're not that close. You know what I mean? I like it. There's a lot of songs I love on it. I was so grateful. I'm so grateful that it exists, but I can't put it that close to Parallel Lines. So I'm going to give it a 7, which still is good. I still put it on from time to time, not as much as the early albums, but I certainly love Maria. Nothing is real but the girl. I love to listen to her, sing The Dreams Lost on Me and other songs from this. So 7 is not bad coming from me. It doesn't mean it's not good.
What would you have scored The Hunter? How would you have scored that one?
The Hunter is probably, 5 for me means it's barely worth listening to. I think The Hunter is better than that, but not much. So The Hunter to me would be like a 6.
See, in my scoring, it is difficult with Blondie because when you have your 10s, and then we haven't reached my least favorite yet, which will get the lowest score. Okay. But the scores are very tightly in a range. Like I gave Eat to the Beat a 9.8, I think. Because it was literally almost perfect.
Yeah.
So it is tough in scoring them, because some of them are so close up there.
Yep. And like I said, Blondie sets the standard so high.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that they set their own bar so high that it's like how do you judge the ones that you like but don't love compared to the ones you love?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some albums coming up that I really love. There's some I don't love so much. And did I give The Hunter a 7 last time? I had to recant that. I think I give it like a 5 or 5.5.
That sounds high for The Hunter.
I mean, girl. Okay. But No Exit. If Parallel Lines is a 10 and The Hunter is a 5 or 6, I think I'm getting either 7.5 or 8. Like, I think it's really solid. Jimmy, I think if they open with No Exit, they'd fucking scare everyone away. I don't know about that one.
Well, to be honest, if I had my own way, I would probably have left it off entirely.
Okay,
so
fair
it's
enough.
kind of like I wanted to kind of get it out of the way. I don't know. I think the opening hook is kind of fun. I mean, just
Yeah.
for me. I mean, I like the fugue kind of, I mean, but that appeals to my horror movie, B movie side of me. So,
What if they open with Maria and just fucking open with the single?
I would not be mad about that at all. I really wouldn't.
They never would. Like they're too artsy to do that, but
Right.
fucking Heart of Glass buried on side B of Parallel Lines.
Exactly.
Gotta love them for it though. All right. Well, every time we meet, I miss Daniel and James, of course. Is there anyone else I'm missing? Because I'm tired. If I missed anybody, I apologize. It's been quite a week. But I was looking forward to this. I was so tired. I'm like, I gotta hang out with my Blondie people tonight, man. And it's such a pleasure. Thanks to the Patreon subscribers. Scott, I really loved having you on the podcast. I hope you stick around.
I will.
I told you in the beginning, I'm like, you can't do Parallel Lines unless you do Panic at Girls.
But you said you're going to be the bitch of the bunch, so challenge accepted.
Oh, Lord. Oh, girl, here we go. Well, I'm going to drive back to my job and look for some fucking little ring that I'm never going to find, but this will be posted tonight. Please share with any networks or fan communities because I'm stuck at promoting myself, but I guess, Jimmy, you're doing a good job promoting the podcast because the numbers got up ever since. You're the one that put it in the Janet Jackson forum, right?
I joined every Janet Jackson group I could find just so I could post it.
Well, thank you for that. I can't wait to see you guys in December where we talk about the curse of Blondie. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody. You're the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.